Well, everyone says that Phoenix is hot, but the truth is it just depends on what market you're in or where you look. So in some areas, sellers have the upper hand, and in other areas, it's shifting towards a buyer's market. Today, we'll dig into the numbers and the history behind 85020 and 85021, which are two key zip codes in the north central sections of Phoenix, so that you know exactly what's happening in these areas. By the way, please like and subscribe to my channel. And if you want another zip code reviewed in an area that you've been keeping an eye on, drop a comment below or reach out to me and I will do another review. This is just an overall snapshot of all of Phoenix, the last 12 months as compared to the previous 12 months. So Phoenix proper has just a little tiny section in the middle of the greater valley of Greater Phoenix. Phoenix proper, 1.6 million residents, and it has held steady on its pricing. So single family homes average about 468,000 over the last year, which is basically flat. But sales actually ticked up. There were more homes sold than the same time period a year back. So bottom line is buyers have more choice, but sellers are still holding value here. In September, prices actually jumped to around 505K. And so what I mean by this is this snapshot taken a couple days ago is compared with 3 months prior. So it's now versus earlier this summer. And you'll notice prices are up 12% for the homes that sold. There were about 383 homes that sold during that quarter in all of Phoenix, just Phoenix proper again. So that the demand is still there, and when the right home comes up, that the buyers will actually buy it and they're willing to pay for it. And this view now for townhomes and condos, we're going back like we did on the other slide, where we're looking at the last 12 months snapshot, but just for townhomes and condos in Phoenix proper. And so the average price, 343K, and there were about 1,500 of them sold in that 12-month period. So prices were up about 6%. The numbers sold were lower though, but it's interesting. Prices were still up, and there are more coming on and more available than there were. It's taking a little bit longer to sell them too, as you can see. Time frame went up quite a bit over the year on how long it. Buyers do have some more room to negotiate. This segment is not running away. Like this market isn't cranking up super high, but it's healthier than the dip that we saw last year. Like things are improving now versus last year. Now let's look at condos in a more narrow snapshot. So let's look at September versus earlier this summer. And so prices, down a little bit again if you narrow the window, but we did still sell 65 properties in Phoenix proper of townhomes and condos. And it is taking a little bit longer, 65 days now on market. And there are currently 590-ish of townhomes and condos for sale in this area. It's just a reminder that condos can cool quickly when buyers start getting super selective. And if you're looking to sell, it will sell. It just will take a little bit longer, and you got to make yourself stand out so that you're picked over the other 500 and something properties that are for sale. So let's take a step back. Now, I am super excited to talk about this. I'm very passionate about the Phoenix North Central corridor, if you've heard it called that, or North Central Phoenix just in general. So this is an overarching snapshot here. And the reason why I want you to see this greater view is see this little red mark right here. So that is North Central Phoenix. And look at this. This is the whole entire valley, Greater Valley of the Sun of the Phoenix metro area, all the different towns and outskirt cities. And look at the geographical center of it is North Central Phoenix. So this is an area where if you look here, you've got the I-17 going right here, and you're sandwiched right in between the I-17 and the 51. And then you're also got the I-10 going from west to east, and pretty much you're 30 minutes to most places in the valley. Buckeye, I can get to within 30 minutes, Mesa. There are some parts of Chandler and then Queen Creek that may be a little bit longer, especially during rush hour. So those can be a little bit longer, but most places you're within 30 minutes. And so that's not only just a convenience, but it's also very recession resilient. So if you ever need to change jobs, you are well positioned for any commute. And that is one thing. Not only that, there's a whole bunch of historical aspects of living in this area combined with one of the best places to live in terms of accessibility. So that's why I want to point that. Now let's zoom in. So this is a very zoomed in view of, so right now you have the 51 and the 17. You have Glendale Avenue right here. It turns into Lincoln, and then you're heading off into Paradise Valley and then Scottsdale if you keep going east. And then over here, so you have Glendale, and then you have all the way up through Peoria Avenue. And so now I'm going to narrow it down to 2 zip codes that I'm going to focus on for North Central Phoenix. 85021, which is to the west side of Central. Central is right here, and it cuts the city straight down the middle. In fact, Central goes all the way downtown. It starts up in the hills in North Mountain, and even up over into Bell Road a bit, and then it goes all the way downtown. So Central is what it does. It's a central part of the city. And for those of you who aren't familiar with this, anything west of Central is an avenue, and the numbers get bigger as you go all the way from Central, and then you start going towards Litchfield Park, Goodyear, Buckeye. You start getting up into 222nd Avenue. If you go the other direction and you start going towards Paradise Valley, then Scottsdale, and even Fountain Hills, you start getting into 200th Street. So that's the difference. If it's east, it's a street. If it's west, it's an avenue. There's some other tips and tricks about our nomenclature in the Phoenix Valley that I can share in another video, but those are the key ones to remember on streets versus avenues. 85021 is west of Central, 85020 is east of Central, and it basically goes from Peoria all the way down to Glendale Avenue is the cutoff. These are not the only 2 zip codes in the North Central corridor, but they're a very key aspect of it. And one thing I want to point out is essentially from Northern all the way down to, I want to say Bethany Home, Missouri, is a little teeny tiny narrow strip of land called Murphy's Bridle Path. And it's actually a designated park, and it has lots and lots of olive trees and lots of trees planted and providing wonderful shade. And so back in the 1800s, this area used to be, it was built by William J. Murphy, and he built the Arizona Canal, which brought irrigation, turning the desert, all this area, turning it into farmland back in the 1800s. And there used to be citrus groves here. And so he also planted Murphy Bridle Path along Central Avenue, and it was first used by horse and buggies. And then by the 50s and 60s, it became the corridor of ranch-style homes and irrigated lots. And so that mix of history and just that neighborhood feel with lots of mature trees, that very much defines North Central today. And if you follow me on social media, you'll see me walking my dogs up around these areas, and you'll see the size of some of the trees. You do not feel like you're in Phoenix. And sometimes you feel like you're in parts of Northern California. Sometimes you feel like you're in Ohio or Missouri. It's crazy, but you're in the middle of Phoenix proper. And so one other thing I wanted to highlight here is going down Central. You'll hear the term, people say, do you live inside the 7's or do you live outside the 7's? And what they mean by that is either 7th Avenue or 7th Street. So if you live inside the 7's, these are considered a little bit more desirable area. The lots tend to be bigger. These are where a lot of the neighborhoods originated. And so they had larger parcels. And then over time, they shrank the parcels and things got a little smaller. But the real estate price per square foot is a little higher when you're inside the 7's. And especially if you're in between Northern and Glendale, and inside the 7's. Like these are areas, or some of them are, you can have some lots that are up to an acre or a little over an acre, and none of them are too tiny compared to some other parts of Phoenix, which may have smaller lots. So another reason why it's desirable, you're in the city, you are in the proverbial center of a city, you have giant trees, 100-foot tall pine trees you may see, and a big lot, and you're right inside the city around all these highways. So it's crazy, and it's amazing feel and very cool vibe to the neighborhood. All right, I'm going to move down to the next slide. All right, we're done with the maps, but I just want to give you guys a little educational history here on a couple of key areas. So I'll talk a little bit more about 85020 here. So Now going back to market snapshot, and remember, this is the area that is just east of Central. And so when we look at single family homes just from September versus the rest of the summer earlier, um, average home price 355K, and it is down now. Remember this, okay? Take this with a grain of salt. I'm just looking at one zip code here, and there are over 100 zip codes in the Phoenix metro area, and only 9 properties sold in September. And I'm just talking, in the last 30 days, like a little bit of August going into September, just 9 properties sold in this one particular zip code. Okay, so take it with a grain of salt. These prices could fluctuate. There's a lot of fluidity to this price right here. But right now, look at all these properties available, 110. There, if you are looking to buy and you want to live in an area that is really a commuter's dream, look at all the properties for sale here right now, and notice the prices have come down. This is a really good time to buy. And yesterday, the Fed announced that it cut the interest rates a quarter of a basis point, and that they're expecting it to go a couple more times this year. So, what a good time to buy! What a great place to live in these commuter friendly areas. And then look at the number of properties available. If the rates keep going down, the number of properties available are going to be going down. You will not have as many choices. Okay, one other thing I want to mention about this zip code. So this is known as Sunny Slope here. So it was historically known as it, and it was annexed into Phoenix in the 50s. And there are lots of hilly streets and hill zones up here. So they have hillside homes and post-war era uh, type homes. Some of them still stand from there. Some of them have been renovated and remodeled. There's a lot of revitalization going in this area, and it's becoming more and more popular. People are moving into these zones from the outskirts. And so, although it's only, I said it's only 9 homes, there's a wild swing in those numbers. Mark my words, keep an eye on this. These prices are going to go up here. So, what's nice about this is it's mountain preserve access views, unique mix of character homes. One thing I forgot to mention on that map chart. So, you know what? I may go back to this one. So I love to go hiking with my dogs, and living here, there are so many places to go do that. So you can go up North Mountain. There's nice mountains up here to go hike. You can head over if you go down Lincoln or Glendale and it turns into Lincoln. There's Piestewa Peak and lots of beautiful views up there. Big giant saguaros. You're right in the middle of a city, but there are some tall hills there and tall mountains. And when you're up there, you do not feel like you're in the city. But when you hike up there, you can gaze down on the city. It's such a cool view. And then also just even go down northern, you'll get Dreamy Draw Park just recently reopened. So 3 places within 3 miles of North Central Phoenix. You can go hike, you can come down and go to brunch within a mile. Everything is just right there. You don't have to spend hours going to drive to Sedona or all these other places. You can live in the city and you can enjoy nature simultaneously. Okay, so let me get back to the next slide. So let me go, sorry here. So I was just finished on the single family homes. Now I'm going to talk about townhomes. And so in September, there were only 6 of them sold in 85020. And the average price there, interestingly enough, was more than the single family homes, 410. These are probably a little bit newer properties, gated. They have some community aspects that, and a lot of them probably have garages as well. So, and there's only 34 of these for sale right now. So they are selling. The prices actually were up 27%, but again, remember, only 6 sold in the last 30 days. Okay, so now I want to talk about 85021, which is west of Central. And remember, this area is known for, also been around since the 50s, known for larger lots, irrigated lots, and just long-time family ownership. Some of these families have been living in them for over 30 years. Some of them are in their second or third generation of the same family living in them. Like, there's not a lot of high turnover here. That being said, there are 91 properties for sale right now, which is more than there's been in a little while. Some of them just came off. Some people took it off over the summer. But, again, this area is right by Murphy's Canal and Bridle Path. And There's a lot of ranch homes. There are unique custom built homes with lots of different architecture. You'll see anything from Mediterranean style to Tudor homes to sprawling, rambling ranches, like 3,000 and 4,000 square feet. I've seen some that look like from the 1800s out of the movie Pollyanna, the 2 or 3 story wood homes. So there's just a lot of unique properties here. And now I'm going to talk about townhomes in the same zip code. So only just 3 sold, not a lot. This area is more about single family homes than townhomes or condos. But that being said, there are townhomes and condos. It's just they sell little by little and churn. In general, as far as houses go, this area in a year, each zip code sells about 200 to 250 homes. So between the two of them, 450 to 500 homes in a year between these 2 zip codes. So it's not a ton, but it's enough. It's enough to people take an interest in it and they want to consider living in it because of all the reasons why I showed you earlier. Phoenix is not a one size fits all. It's not, when you think of the word Phoenix, you do not think of some of these areas that I'm talking about until you see it with your eyes. You'll be shocked. So some neighborhoods, they are still firmly in seller territory and others are shifting towards buyer. But the North Central Corridor, it continues to stand out for its history, its lifestyle, and its location. And so if you're thinking about buying or selling, it doesn't have to be in the North Central Corridor, Phoenix, Scottsdale, or North Central. Let's talk and I'll help you. And I'll help you cut through the noise and I'll help you move with confidence. And again, please like and subscribe to my channel and let me know if there's any other zip codes or types of dwellings that you're interested in me reviewing. Thank you.